Peace, friends. My name is Michal White. I'm the pastor here at the South Lansing campus of Sycamore Creek Church. It's great to see you this morning. We like to start off our services with a little bit of audience interaction, and so our first shout-out question is a Halloween-themed would you rather question. Would you rather go to a costume party or go trick-or-treating? Trick-or-treating. Okay, costume party? Trick-or-treating? None of the above? All right. It's kind of split evenly. We have a couple of songs to sing this morning. Would you stand with me as you're able, and let's sing together.
I could describe it, but I can't contain it. Can't keep it to myself. There aren't enough colors to paint the whole picture. Not enough words to ever say what I found. Wonderful and beautiful and glorious and holy. He is merciful and powerful. Who we talking about? That's my King. We declare the glory. Give him all the honor. All together worthy. Who we talking about? That's my King. There's no one before you. Yes, we will adore you. All of this is for you. Who we talking about? That's my King. I'm not letting the rocks cry without joining the chorus. There aren't enough notes to make that harmony. All the ages, it's all of the earth and heaven symphony. Wonderful and beautiful and glorious and holy, he is merciful and powerful. Who we talking about? That's my King. We declare the glory, give him all the honor, all together worthy. Who we talking about? That's my King. There's no one before you. Yes, we will adore you. All of this is for you. Who we talking about? That's my King. That's my King. That's my God. That's my shepherd, my protector. That's my King. That's my rock. That's my anchor, my defender. That's my King. That's my shepherd, my protector. That's my King. He's my rock. He's my anchor, my defender. Who we talking about? That's my King. We declare the glory. We give him all the honor, all together worthy. Who we talking about? That's my King. We declare the glory. Give him all the honor, all together worthy. Who we talking about? That's my King. There's no one before you. Yes, we will adore you. All of this is for you. Who we talking about? That's my King. 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 Yeah. I don't know about you, but I needed that this morning. I'm awake. I'm ready to celebrate the goodness of God. How about you? Let's do it.
I love you, Lord. Oh, your mercy never fails me. All my days I've been held in your hands. From the moment that I wake up of the goodness of God. And all my life you have been faithful. And all my life you have been so good. With every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. I love your voice. You have led me through the fire and darkest night. You are close like no other. I've known you as a father. I've known you as a friend. I have lived in the goodness of God. Yeah. And all my life you have been faithful. And all my life you have been so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I gotta sing of the goodness of God. Your goodness is running after me. Your goodness is running after me. My life laid down, I surrender now. I give you everything. Your goodness is running after me. Your goodness is running after me. Your goodness is running after me. With my life laid down, I surrender now. I give you everything. Your goodness is running after me. And all my life you have been faithful. And all my life you have been so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I'm gonna sing of the goodness of God. Oh, I'm gonna sing. And all my life you have been faithful. You've been faithful. And all my life you have been so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I'm gonna sing of the goodness of God. Yes, I'm gonna sing of the goodness of God.
All right, you guys can be seated, and kids, you can head off to Kids Creek.
Good, all right. This morning, we have Gretchen Williams joining as my co-host.
Hello.
She will also be my conversation partner for our
Yes.
message this morning, which is very exciting.
Yes.
Very, very exciting.
This series is so good.
I know.
I'm really
Very
enjoying it
exciting.
already. I want to invite you to pull out your connection card. It looks like this. It's in your program. I hope you received a program when you came in. Pull that out. You can put your name and your email and anything else that you would like to share right there on that card, and then keep a hold of it. Keep it somewhere safe, because we're going to talk about it again later.
That's right. Now, you may have noticed that we're wearing name tags today. This is not something we always do, but for the month of October, we're having what we're calling name tag amnesty, which is another way of saying that you don't have to go up to someone and say, "I'm so sorry, I forgot your name again." You can just see that's your name.
Yeah.
Now, that will be more helpful for some than others. My name is Michal, and it's not always easy to tell by my name tag. People are like, but I'm telling you now, you don't have to ask me. It's Michal.
Yes, Michal.
All right.
You told me when I first met you, like, Michal rhymes with Michelle.
That's right.
Michal, Michelle.
That's it.
Michal. All right. Here at Sycamore Creek, we like to encourage you to take a selfie. Is it really a Sunday if you don't take a selfie? I don't think so. So let's take a selfie right here. You can share that on your social media platforms, whichever one it is that you enjoy using, with the hashtag SCCMI. It's actually a really great way to subtly tell your friends what you're up to. And I've had friends be like, oh, can you tell me about your church? You post about it all the time.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a cool way to let people know that you're a part of this family.
That's right. So this morning, like we said, we are continuing our series called Loving Disagreement. And this week will be a conversation message, which means that Gretchen and I will be kind of teaching the message together in a conversation style. And we're talking about patience.
Your favorite.
It's the episode you've all been waiting for. Yes. All right. Thanks. Our message this morning, it begins with this.
What does it look like to love someone you disagree with?
In a world where conflict over politics, theology, and personal preferences is rampant, even in the church, Loving Disagreement offers a better way.
This 4-week series at Sycamore Creek Church explores how the work of God's Spirit can guide us toward love in the midst of tension.
You'll discover how Spirit-led relationships can heal divisions
and create space for grace.
So, Gretchen, sometimes, very rarely, I lose my patience.
No way.
This summer, I went on a road trip with a couple of friends, and we drove a long way. It was a lot of miles and a lot of hours in the car. And I tell you, the one thing that made me so frustrated is when you're driving in the fast lane, and there's someone in front of you on the highway, and they're going like exactly the speed limit. Like, I just don't understand it, and I would get stuck behind people, and then I'm like, what are you doing? And I don't make any gestures or anything. I'm not that kind of person. I do sometimes have to watch what I'm saying if my kids are in the car.
That's fair.
But that's a time that I lose my patience.
Yeah.
Does that ever happen to you? Something like that?
I lose my patience far more often than I'd like to admit. And actually, I'm a little bit embarrassed to admit it, but a time that I lose my patience is that I often lose my patience when people don't text me back. So, I'll be thinking like after 10 minutes, why haven't they texted me back? I would never say that to them, but I'm thinking it in my head. And then maybe a few hours later, if I still haven't heard back, I'll text them and say, did you get my message? Now, let me say clearly that I am not sitting up here trying to call anybody out if you have never texted me back or something. Okay? So, this is a confession. I'm not trying to call you out. But it was really challenging when I didn't have a car that worked, which was nearly 3 months. Oof. Because I needed to know if I had a ride or not. And if somebody didn't reply, then I was freaking out that I didn't have a ride to work or to church.
It seems like one of those things too that you kind of need to know so that if they can't do it, then you can ask someone else.
Yes.
And it's not so much that you want people to respond and say, yes, I can do it, although you do want that. But
right.
Also,
well, plus I keep my phone next to me literally all the time. Doesn't everybody else do that? Yes.
I do.
Maybe some people do.
Except when it's not. Except when it's somewhere else. Yeah. I think that all of us struggle with this. All of us have moments that we're losing our patience. When you're trying to get a group of people moving in a direction, to get out the door, and you know that you have a place to be at a certain time, and the other people in your life, I'm trying not to look at people who are nodding. The other people
don't
who
get it.
They're they don't have the same sense of urgency that you do, and you're like, what's happening? It could happen with anybody. It could,
Oh, yeah.
This could also be if you're in school and you've diligently turned your work in and you're just waiting on your teacher to grade the papers and return them. Now, my spouse is a teacher, so I'm obligated to tell you that they work really hard and that you should not be mad at them. But as a student, I do remember feeling some impatience, like I need to know what my grade is and I need to like figure this out. We're looking at this book, Loving Disagreement, and one of the authors in the book, he says, I couldn't help but notice that the opposite of this, the opposite of patience, is not so much impatience as it is anger.
Ooh. Yeah.
And I think that really puts like a finger on the pulse of it. Like, I mean, that's like a lot of what we're dealing with. My lack of patience, our lack of patience, a lot of times it shows up as frustration, irritability, anger, annoyance, fill in the blank. Like, we could keep going. Snippiness. Yeah. So we're going to pause here to give you a chance to reflect on this. We like to pause throughout the message so you can talk to people. Now, before I give you the question, I want you to not use this as an opportunity to complain about someone in your life. So, someone just said, oh, man. So be careful how you're talking about. Like, keep it anonymous or describe your reaction and not so much the other person's behavior. So what are some times that your patience is tested? That's our question. We're going to have 90 seconds on the timer. So if you're sitting alone, get up and move to someone around you. If you're joining us online, you can put it in the chat. We're going to have 90 seconds. All right. I hope you had some good conversations. You figured some stuff out. You identified in your own life some places that this message might apply.
I definitely realized that as we've been working on this message, I'm noticing the places now where I'm being impatient.
Yeah.
Which is like, oh, shoot.
Oh, darn it.
I'm supposed to preach on that.
It's amazing how many times, like, we're really preaching to ourselves. Like, whatever we're saying on stage, we're saying to ourselves just as much. So let's keep going. We're in this series. We started last week a series called Loving Disagreement, and it's based on a book of that name by Matt Michelatos and Kathy Kong. We have copies of that in our micro bookstore for $10. And we are also doing small groups on this content. My small group starts on Monday, actually. My small group starts tomorrow.
That's tomorrow,
yeah, that's tomorrow. This book is an exploration of how we can respond to God's Spirit and be changed. So like the Apostle Paul, in his letter to the church in Galatia, he uses this idea of fruit. So if you think of a plant that bears fruit, so does the Holy Spirit work in our lives and change us so that we bear fruit that reflects the character of God. And this whole idea of this book is like, well, how does the fruit of the Spirit help us engage in disagreement? Which I think is really applicable to a lot of us this time in our lives. And by the way, I just want to mention the roll-in video, their voices, it's Matt and Kathy on the voices for our roll-in video. And they're actually joining Pastor Tom in a podcast on November 2nd at 7 p.m. So keep a lookout for that. You can hear like question and answer from them. But this is what Paul says to the church in Galatia. He says, the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, forbearance, which is another word for patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Against such things there's no law. And so since we live by the Spirit, let us keep in step with the Spirit. So in this series, we're exploring 4 of the fruit. Last week we did love. This week we're doing patience. There's going to be a message on faithfulness and a message on gentleness. And if you're interested in more and learning about the whole thing or engaging the book, you can sign up for a small group. These are the small groups that are happening like by people from South Lansing. So like I said, mine starts tomorrow.
Mine
Monday.
started on Thursday.
Yours started on
We'd
Thursday.
love to have you.
So you can sign up for one of those on your connection card.
Yeah. So in the book, the 2 authors write, it's like they're having a conversation, and they refer to each other by their first name. So you'll notice that we're going to be referring to the authors by their first name. We might not usually do that, but
usually I try to use their last name.
we're going to adopt what they have done.
Yep.
So in the book, Matt writes, followers of Jesus are called to something more impressive than simple politeness. We're called to things like love, patience, kindness, faithfulness. But how can we possibly be kind in the midst of these horrific disagreements? How can we move past anger and hatred and find patience and love? That's what this book is about.
That's what the book is about. That's what this series is about. And we believe this is more important than ever for us to be equipped with these tools and strategies to engage in disagreement in a loving way. So that's the series we're calling Loving Disagreement. And this is part of a series of series that we've been doing, a deep dive on the Sermon on the Mount, where all of our series for over a year have been inspired by these topics that we find in the Sermon on the Mount. This is our second to last series.
I can't believe we've
in
almost
that
made
deep
it.
dive. So just so you know, we're
so close.
we're coming up on the end of that. And in the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus tells his followers, don't judge so that you may not be judged. For the judgment you give will be the judgment you get, and the measure you give will be the measure you get. And as we've been talking about this, when Jesus is saying don't judge, maybe part of what he's saying is when you disagree with people, you can disagree with what they believe, but you don't have to say that they're bad for believing that. Like, don't dehumanize people when you disagree with them. That's judgment. So how can we disagree in a different way?
So we're taking these words, Jesus' words, and applying them to loving disagreement. Last week, as we said, we started with love and war, and this week it's the message on patience. I'm sure you all were so excited to hear this. And I think, the writers, I said earlier, they take turns writing, so they actually take turns writing the chapters, and this chapter happens to be written by Kathy. So most of the quotes you're going to see are going to be from Kathy.
Yeah. So maybe first we are going to start with describing what patience is and why we engage it. Maybe you've seen this meme. This is a picture of Jesus holding a large teddy bear behind his back, talking to a little girl who's holding a small teddy bear. And he's saying, just trust me, I have better for you. And she says, but I love this. And then it's trust God, what he has is way better and bigger. I don't like this meme, in case, I want to be clear. When we first did this, Gretchen was didn't realize that I was saying
that's
I didn't like
icky,
it.
Michal.
So I'm just gonna say it straight out. I don't really like it. And the reason that I don't like it is because I think it reflects a sort of transactional nature that sometimes we approach Jesus with, and we say,
It's a little bit manipulative.
yeah, okay, I'll give you this thing, but because I think you're gonna give me something better. And that's just not always how life works. A lot of times that's not how life works. And so I think there can be times when we think about patience in this way, I'm just going to be patient to get to something better. I'm going to grit my teeth and bear it because there will be something better. And here's what Kathy has to say about it. She says, when one bears patience as the fruit of the Spirit, there is no guaranteed outcome. Patience in a much broader context is a willingness and ability to sit and endure without acting out, to be long-suffering without complaint, and to refrain from retaliation when provoked. Patience is waiting with no assurance that things will work out the way you want.
This is a much deeper, more challenging approach to patience, for sure. It's not just holding out, gritting your teeth and trying to just get through something.
Yeah.
It's knowing that things may never change. And maybe a good story to look at from the Bible about patience is the story in the New Testament about the bleeding woman. It's in Luke's account of Jesus' life and ministry.
Yeah, so in this story, there's a woman, and we don't know her name, but she spent 12 years bleeding. And most scholars agree this is probably menstrual bleeding. It's not like she has an open wound or something like that. 12 years. 12 years.
That's a long time.
That's a long time. And in our society, 12 years of menstrual bleeding would probably, it would be inconvenient. A woman might have anemia. There's probably some pain. There's other things happening there. But like when people are menstruating, like they just go on with their lives. You maybe have some painkillers. You maybe have a heating pad. But you just go on with your life. In their context, this would have been different. So a woman who's bleeding, she would be considered unclean, ritually unclean, which means that she could not engage in community events. She couldn't engage in her religious community. So like she would have been kept out of some of those places of community, of engagement, of like relationships because of this. Not only that, but she had spent a lot of money and a lot of time looking for doctors who might be able to heal her, and no success. Nothing happened. So Jesus was on his way to heal someone else, and the crowds pressed in on him, and like, this is her chance. She sees, this is my chance to maybe do something different.
And she reached out, and she touched his cloak, and she was healed. She could feel it immediately in her body. Patience is waiting 12 years for this chance, and then holding your breath in fear and hoping that Jesus isn't serious when he asks his disciples, "Who touched me?" Patience is waiting and then discerning it's finally time to say something and tell your story, even when you have no idea how the crowd, the disciples, or Jesus will respond.
Yeah.
When we look at this kind of patience and consider how we might expand its application to look also at disagreement, we might conclude with Kathy that in loving disagreements, patience honors the humanity of every person and holds the tension of how healthy conflict and resolution impacts everyone. I love that. Patience honors the humanity of every person. This is not easy.
Yeah, when I think about how patience is honoring the humanity of every person and how that might show up in a disagreement, I think one of the places that I struggle with this is sometimes if someone is like pausing or like searching for words, I want to fill in the blank of what they're going to say. Like my brain is like guessing what they might say. Does anybody else do this?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And sometimes that is not helpful. It's often not helpful in a disagreement. Because a lot of times when I'm trying to anticipate what someone might say, then I'm doing that so that I can script my response. I'm figuring out how I'm going to counter whatever they're saying, instead of really trying to understand where they're coming from. I think honoring the humanity of another person in disagreement a lot of times looks like, I really want to understand where you're coming from. A couple of years ago at Sycamore Creek, we had a two-part workshop from resetting the table. And we engaged in some different activities. And one of them was like to describe your perspective on something. And then the other person, your partner, would try to repeat back to you what you said. Maybe not word for word, but in their own words. And the goal was to get to a bullseye, where someone would say, "That's it. You got it. That's what I'm trying to say. Exactly that." And I think that's a really helpful tool in disagreement. It also takes a longer time. It takes more time. And in fact, this idea of getting the bullseye is something that has become part of how Pastor Tom and Pastor Mark and I like think about things. We recently were having, Pastor Tom and I were having like maybe you could call it a disagreement, but like there was a way that I responded to him and said, I think maybe this is what you're saying. And he was like, that's it, that's a bullseye. And that was even before that he had heard this message. Like, this is just part of how our goal in disagreement, because it can be so helpful. So we're going to pause here for another chat question. I want you to think about this idea of the bullseye and how it might help during disagreement. What makes patience in disagreement difficult for you? Like, where do you find yourself impatient and trying to rush ahead or like getting frustrated? And have you ever experienced a person getting a bullseye of your perspective? How did that help or hurt? Like, what happened then? We're going to have 90 seconds. Take a minute and talk about it. So one of the things that we kind of talked about in that 90 seconds was how we sometimes we feel a sense of urgency, like to convince someone, like, I don't want you to leave here believing the same thing that you came in with, and so I have to tell you the thing.
have to say my thing.
And that urgency can frustrate the patience that we're trying to develop.
Yeah.
And I thought about specifically creating space for some of my family members. Most of you know that I grew up in a conservative religious setting that didn't think women could be pastors, but then also did not think that being gay was okay. And so we've been able to create a space where like some of my family can talk to me about like just wrestling through questions and not feeling like I'm going to judge them or like, no, you have to believe a certain way if you're going to be good. Like, there's sort of a patience required for creating space for people to wrestle with topics and change.
And for you, maybe it's like, look, see, I've grown since childhood, and you can too.
You can do it too. That's right. So let's get really practical here about what it means to practice patience. And where we might need patience. Kathy describes some different spheres, some different areas that we might need patience. And I thought that was helpful to just think about the different places we might need patience. And so the first sphere of patience, that's a hard word to say, by the way, sphere of patience, is pet peeve patience. So this is the kind of patience that you might practice with people that you might never meet. You might never even have an interaction with them. So this is like when you're sitting in line to exit off a ramp, like on the highway, and then there are people just zooming past and then cutting in at the last minute. Well, I'm probably never going to see those people, but I do feel really frustrated in that moment, right? What did I miss?
I think that somebody might be confessing here.
Oh, well, I'm just going to pretend that I didn't hear that. Or this could be even like if you're at a restaurant and that person at the next table is talking really loudly or like on their phone and you're like, what is this person doing? You're probably not going to actually interact with that person. And yet, if you're not dealing with your impatience, it's probably going to leak out in your relationships with the people who are closest to you. So it's something you still have to deal with, but like maybe not directly with the person who's annoying you.
Yeah, for sure. So the second sphere of patience is stranger patience.
Is that like stranger danger?
Stranger danger, maybe not exactly.
Maybe not exactly.
So stranger patience is required when we practice patience with strangers.
Yeah.
Where pet peeve patience does not require us to interact with the person, stranger patience does require interaction. You practice stranger patience when your flight is canceled and you have to talk to the person to rebook. Mm-hmm. Or when you've been sitting in the dentist chair after getting your teeth cleaned and you're waiting for the dentist to come back in and do the final check. It's been like waiting and waiting. You've been waiting so much longer than you thought you would, and you still need to talk to the doctor.
Yeah, that actually happened to my kid a couple of weeks ago.
Dude, I feel your pain.
And when the dentist came in, my kid was like, oh, took you long enough. And I was like, that maybe was an inside thought.
Kids are honest.
Maybe that child could practice this stranger patience. The third sphere is your people patience. Who are your people? The people that you live with, the people you interact with. Maybe it's your close friends. Maybe it's the family that you live with. Maybe it's a roommate. You might practice this like same as we talked about before, when you're trying to get out the door and your people are dragging their feet and you're like, all right, let's
you're going to make me late for work.
You might practice this patience also if you have a roommate that's constantly eating your food from the fridge, like maybe this happened when you were in college, maybe it happens now, but like this is the kind of thing that you're going to have to make a decision. Like you can engage with this person and say, hey, this is bothering me, and like work through it. You could ignore it, but then just let your resentment grow. You could just ignore it until then it just comes out all at once.
Yeah.
You're going to have to figure out how to talk to this person that you're frustrated with.
Yes. So the next sphere of patience is the all the things patience. Sometimes my friends and I say, life be lifin'. Right? So the news cycle right now is a lot. It's a lot.
It's a lot.
So much. Climate change, gun violence, natural disasters, political strife. It's a lot. And this is where some of us look around and wonder, how are we going to fix any of this? I think I asked myself that question literally every day. Yeah. How are we going to fix this? This kind of patience is where we remember the already, not yet nature of God's kingdom. Mm-hmm. We look for ways to engage in healing our world, and we trust that God is also working. We practice patience, waiting for complete healing.
Another important thing for us to remember as we're considering patience is that cultural values around patience are different from one community to another. So Kathy describes her own Korean American upbringing and how patience emphasized long suffering without complaint. So as long as the community appeared to be doing good on the whole, then individuals were expected to sort of keep their frustrations or their complaints to themselves. And she describes the downside of that, of course, being that if the community looks like it's doing good, but lots of individuals are suffering, then it's hard to make that connection. Where typical white American values might say the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So we're encouraging people to speak up and advocate for themselves. And neither one of those are better or worse than other. They're just different cultural values that can affect the way that we interact with people. And it's good for us to be aware of those things as we're interacting with people. And while it's important to pursue cultural awareness and how our patience shows up in different cultures, Kathy notes too that we have to recognize that not every expectation of patience is valid. Opposing or conflicting values cannot be considered a matter of opinion when the dignity or safety of another human being is at stake. So when people are waiting for justice, when people are in a dangerous situation, when people are being abused, those are not the times that we're going to encourage people to practice patience. We're going to look for ways to actively support a change that leads to safety.
All right. So we've talked about different kinds of patience where we might experience the opportunity to practice patience.
Yeah.
So now let's talk about how you build your patience. Think about a skill that you've developed. I like to crochet. I had to practice. I learned the steps, even though my mom wouldn't teach me, and I had to practice. She wouldn't teach me because she said she wasn't a teacher. So I had to do it myself. I had to learn myself. I had to Google different stitches if I didn't know how to do it, and I had to practice. It was messy at first, but it got better and better and better. So patience is something that we have to practice. Sometimes we won't be good at it. We're not perfect, But with practice, and intention, we'll get better. Sometimes people say, don't pray for God to give you patience, because why? He will test you. He will test you. I usually hear that question, and I think maybe we're saying, that's bad. We don't want to be tested. It's hard.
Yep.
But there are actually some things we can do to build our patience. So the first way that we can build our patience is to cultivate curiousness. Yes, curiosity, creativity. I can't talk today. And compassion. Curiosity, creativity, and compassion. So this isn't something that Kathy wrote about in her book. These are Sycamore Creek's values. And this is how we want to do everything here at Sycamore Creek. And I think that if we become more curious, we practice patience in understanding.
Yep.
And instead of looking at a situation and deciding, well, it is what it is, then we look at the situation and ask questions. We're curious about it. We're creative in how we respond, and we don't stay stuck in either or thinking. We take our time to think of a third thing. Most of my superhero shows, they always talk about there's a third way. So we try to find the third way.
Yep.
And our compassion is one of the ways that we honor the dignity of other people.
Yeah. A second way that we can practice patience is to create spaces of silence. Much of being patient really boils down to being present in the moment, right? Not trying to rush ahead to the next thing or let our sense of urgency drive us. And so when we constantly fill our lives with noise, there's always music on in the background, or the television's going just for some background noise, or all kinds of stuff like that I do, a lot of us do, then we might frustrate our own growth in patience because we're not learning how to sit in the silence and wait. We're actually going to practice patience later in the service. Sometimes it's helpful for folks to know
silence.
that. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. We're going to practice silence later in the service, and sometimes it's helpful for some folks to know that's coming. So that's going to happen later
Some of
today.
us are not so comfortable with silence.
Yeah, it can be tough.
That's legit. A third way you can build patience is by creating spaces for waiting. So in the church or in faith communities, we sometimes practice waiting at Christmas time, the time leading up to Christmas, and we call it Advent, or the time leading up to Easter, which we sometimes call Lent. Sometimes during Advent, churches might light a candle each week, reflecting on what it must have been like to wait for Jesus' birth and the hope he brought. And that can give us hope in our waiting for the world to be healed.
Yeah.
As individuals, we might cultivate a space for waiting by maintaining a prayer journal, returning to the journal later to reflect on what we prayed for before can give us an opportunity to notice how prayers were answered and what prayers weren't answered in the ways we hoped. I actually just had a prayer answered this week, and I was like, wow, God, you did that. Thank you,
Wow.
But the written record will become a reminder to keep on praying and gathering and waiting together.
I didn't write this in the thing, but some parts for me, one thing that's helpful of having journals is to look back and see the growth that I've experienced.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just to say, I'm really glad I'm not that person anymore. But you can kind of see that.
I was a real
written
angsty
out.
teenager, so my teenage journals are special.
Isn't it fun? Isn't it fun to look back? Another thing that we can do is create spaces to do the deep work. For many of us, the barriers that we have to patience, for me, this has especially been true in parenting. The times that I lose my patience with my kids often has to do with something that happened when I was a child. So, some lesson that I learned when I was a child that's coming out sideways with my own kids. And so I have to do the deep work of like addressing those things and acknowledging those things. Sometimes it's even depression or anxiety that may or may not be anything to do with what happened when you're a child. Sometimes that's just brain chemistry. But Kathy says that patience requires knowing what activates those knee-jerk reactions and why we respond the way that we do, especially when our behavior is unloving and unkind. So for a lot of us, most of us, this is probably going to look like going to therapy. Creating space for deep work a lot of times is that process is facilitated best by someone who's a mental health professional. So if you scan that QR code, there are counselors who attend Sycamore Creek or people that we know of, and if you're interested in that, you can go on that. I found my therapist on psychologytoday.com.
Oh, yeah.
So there's other ways to do that, but like create spaces to do
that
the deep work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing is that sometimes other people won't really understand what we're doing. They might think it's kind of weird. There are times that I work to practice patience, and I want people who are close to me to cheer me on, but they're just confused, like, why aren't you more mad about this? And that can be kind of frustrating and discouraging. They want me to be angry like they are. They're angry for me. They think I should be angry too, which reminds me of what you mentioned earlier that Matt said. I couldn't help but notice that the opposite of this is not so much impatience as it is anger. I think that's really profound. And what would it look like for us to cheer each other on instead of egging each other on toward anger? What would it look like to practice patience together?
Well, I think on an individual and on a communal level, practicing patience in the face of disagreement can look like working to de-escalate conversations. I find it easy when I'm in a disagreement and the other person is getting ramped up to match their energy. Actually, this doesn't reflect well on me. But one of my kids sometimes gets there and I will look at that kid and say, do you want me to match your energy right now? That's not de-escalation. That's not what we're working toward. It sometimes feels really good to say that in the moment, but
later you're like, ooh.
Yeah, creating space for meaningful conversation can be a path toward practicing patience instead of ramping things up and making things more charged. And that's the kind of person that I want to be in conflict, even if I don't always do that.
Me too.
So really specifically, I'd love to invite each of you to choose one of these practices and engage it. So that could look like you're creating space for silence this week. It could look like reaching out to a therapist for the first time, or maybe again. It could look like, what was something else? Waiting. Journaling. That's right.
Journal.
Yeah, starting a prayer journal. There can be all kinds of things that you might do. But right now, I want to invite us to practice silence together, to engage this practice together. So I want to invite you to get into a position that feels comfortable, where you're not going to be tempted to fall asleep. You're alert, but
this isn't nap time.
I did hear some groans. Well, I mean, you know what? If you fell asleep, that would be okay. There's space for that. There's grace for that. But get into a position that feels comfortable, but you can still be alert. I like to sometimes put my hands in a posture of receiving, but you might put your hands on your knees and just feel supported by the earth, like the earth is holding you up. You might even put your hand on your chest. This is your vagus nerve, and it just soothes sometimes. If it feels safe to you, you might close your eyes. If not, you might just look gently at the ground. Don't look around and stare at other people. Let's avoid that. I know. But let's get comfortable together. So we're going to have 4 minutes. 4 minutes of silence, okay? And there's going to be some shuffling. There's going to be kids that need something or stuff that comes up. That's okay. We're just practicing together. Sometimes practicing just looks like trying again. Now, at the end of the 4 minutes, we are gonna have a timer, and then at the end of the 4 minutes, there's gonna be music that sort of gradually fades in, so you're not startled when we start talking. So, and then after we'll bring us back and pray the Lord's Prayer together as a way of ending this. So, we're gonna have some silence. Here we go. Interrupt your time now. I invite you to return your attention to this space. And if it feels right to you, I'm going to invite you to say with me the prayer the Lord taught his disciples. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread,
and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen.
One of the things that I appreciate about a practice like that in a communal setting is that we get to just remind, like, I felt impatient at times. I found myself looking up and checking the time. How much time is left? Oh, it's been 1 minute. Oh, it's been 2 minutes. Oh, it's been 3. Oh, it's been another 30 seconds. You know, and wondering, even as a leader, like, was that too much time? Like, should we have gone on to something else? And so, like, if you feel that way when you're practicing silence, or even in a group like that, it's so normal. It's so normal. And it's so normal for your mind to go in different directions and to start thinking about what you're going to eat for lunch, or what grocery shopping you have to do this afternoon, or what else you've got to plan. Like, all of that is super normal. And we just say, every time your attention strays, it's an invitation from God to return your attention back to God. And I love, like, I find so much comfort in imagining God in that way, just like not impatient for me to return my attention, you know, but like just always inviting. And I don't know, I love to be reminded of that part of who God is in times like this.
That's so cool.
So we have some ways that we'd like to invite you to connect with us and maybe continue to engage this idea of patience. So go ahead and pull that connection card back out. If you have been like indicating you're interested in things and you're not getting any response, make sure we do have your email address so that we can make sure you're getting the communication that you'd like. On the back side, we have some next steps. We also have a place for prayer requests. So if you've got things going on in your life that you'd like prayer for, you can write that down. We're going to give you a little bit more information about what these things are. So,
coming up on October 26th, we're going to have a pizza town hall. And I think that's just exactly what you think it is, which means that we're going to have a town hall and there's going to be pizza.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk about pizza, but I don't know about you guys, I like pizza a lot. So stay after worship, have some pizza, and then you can find out more about what's going on behind the scenes here at Sycamore Creek.
The business of the church.
The business,
Yeah. And that same afternoon, later that day, is a teen fuel game night. So kids from 6th to 12th grade are invited to our Eastwood campus from 4 to 6 p.m. You can bring a friend, bring a game, like, they're going to have a good time.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be a good time.
Definitely. All right, today after worship, we are celebrating my good friend Kaz, who is having their last day on staff today.
Yeah.
Kaz has been on staff for 9 years and served so wonderfully. Thank you, God, for Kaz. So stick around and celebrate. Maybe there's a place where you could take selfies with there's a background. Maybe Kaz will take a selfie with you. I don't know. And so stick around and show Kaz your support.
There will be cupcakes. There's like a picture frame for you to sign. There's like a place if you brought a gift or you would like to give a gift. There's a place for that. There's, did I already say cupcakes?
Yes.
There are cupcakes.
Cupcakes.
So yeah, make sure to stick around for that. So check those off on your next steps. And then when you've done that on your connection card, drop your connection card in the blue bucket at the end of your row. And then someone can follow up with you after that. If you brought in a financial gift, you can also drop that in the blue bucket. You could scan that QR code. I don't like, your giving helps make everything here happen.
Yeah.
Like, if you're like invested in seeing stuff like this happen, services like this, the programs that we do, your giving helps make that happen. We like to celebrate every week a little bit of something that like your giving went toward. And last week we had our 5th annual South Lansing Art Festival.
Yes.
We gave away 500 pumpkins, like 50 little art kits for kids to do their own art. We had a DJ and art vendors and all kinds of stuff like that. So this was a really great way for us to connect with our neighbors, to support local business owners, and I don't know, make a difference in South Lansing.
So fun. Yeah.
So good. Would you stand with me? We have a couple more songs to sing. Would you stand with me as you're able, and let's sing together?
Yeah, before we start singing again, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but today is Pastor Appreciation Day. So I just want to say we've been coming here for a while now, 2 years, a long time. And I am so grateful for the leadership of Sycamore Creek, especially Michal, and all that they do and are for us, and the way that they're vulnerable and the way that they're just awesome. So if you get a chance, a high five, a fist bump, maybe even a hug for Michal today would be awesome. So yeah, we love our pastors here at Sycamore Creek.
Let's give her a round of applause.
Yeah. All right, sing with us.
Light in the darkness, my God, that is who who you are. You are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. Amen.
like the sound of a symphony to my ears. You're like holy water. Your forgiveness is like sweet, sweet honey on my lips. You're like the sound of a symphony to my ears. You're like holy water on my skin. You're like holy water on my skin. You're like holy water.
Thanks for joining us this week. I hope that you will come back next week as we continue our series with a conversation on faithfulness. Maybe somewhere in here. No. There it is. Hey, look at it. That's what we're doing next week. In lieu of a shout-out question, we're just observing name tag amnesty. So turn around to someone as you go and say hi to them, greet them by name, commit their name to your memory. And I hope that you will stick around as we celebrate Kaz right after the service.
What was your name again?
Huh? My name is Michal. Thank you. Thank you for that. Until next week, be curious, be creative, and be compassionate. Go in peace, friends.
Your forgiveness is like sweet, sweet honey on my lips. You're
made that.